Hi everybody, it's Pastor Jenny here, and we are meeting back online for our third kids sermon. Last week I had a lot of fun telling you a story, so this week we have another one about a pig named Paul. So let's hear Paul the pig makes a friend. Paul was a very good pig. He lived on a giant pig farm where lots of other pink, fat, happy pigs enjoyed their days out in the sun in a big field full of mud. Until one day, Paul was out with his friends and a farmer came and bought him. The farmer took Paul and put him in a truck and said, "Paul, I'm taking you to your new home." Paul had never been in a truck before, and it felt like they rode forever and ever until they came to a new farm where there was a big red barn and lots of animals out front waiting to meet Paul. Paul looked around and noticed, wait a minute, none of these animals are pink. None of them are fat like me. I'm the only pig? Oh no. Paul thought, if I'm the only pig, then I'll be all alone here. Well, before he knew it, the farmer dropped Paul off and drove off in his truck. It was time to meet everyone. The first to introduce himself was Calvin the cow. "Hi, Paul, I'm Calvin. Glad you're here." "Hi, Paul, I'm Danielle. Welcome." "Paul, I'm Shonda." "I'm Rhonda. We're so glad you're here." The last to introduce themselves was the most beautiful, vibrant rooster Paul had ever seen. The rooster crowed loud so everyone could hear, and he said, "Hey, I'm Roger the Rooster." Well, after all this excitement, Paul didn't quite know what to say. But that was okay, because as he sat there, Roger the Rooster walked right on over and said, "Paul, you look like you're a good kind of pig. Guess what? We are going to be best friends. Don't worry about a thing. I got you covered, pal." Well, Paul had never had a best friend before. The thought of it made him happy, he thought. With a best friend, I think I may be all right here after all. Roger the Rooster realized that Paul never had a friend, and so he helped him to understand what friendship looked like. Roger said, "Well, Paul, if you're going to be my best friend, the first thing you need to learn is that friends help each other out. I need to run a few errands. Would you watch the chicks for me?" Well, Paul had never had a best friend, and he'd never hung out with chicks before, but they were awfully cute and little and yellow, so he said, "Yes, of course, best friend." So off went Roger the Rooster. Paul sat with the chicks. They looked at him and began to cheep, 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 cheep. Whew. Paul started to get a headache. These chicks were loud, and he didn't know what they wanted. How long was it going to take before their dad Roger came back and brought them home? Cheep, 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 cheep. Well, Paul found out that day that for roosters, a little bit of time is 7.5 hours. Paul thought Roger would never come back, but he finally did. And of course he said, "Thanks, best friend." Wow, friendship is a lot of hard work, thought Paul. But I'm sure glad I'm not alone. The next day, as they were getting ready to go out in the field, Danielle Donkey came up. "Well, hi, Paul. I'm Danielle. Do you remember me?" "Where are you from?" But before Paul could answer, along came Roger. Hey, he's my best friend. You don't talk to him. Only I get to talk to him." And so away went Danielle. This gave Paul a lot to think about. Wow, best friends must mean you have to be very loyal. how did he end up at a farm where so many animals weren't worth being friends? Well, Paul settled into his new life at this new farm, and he began to learn things like each night as the sun set in the sky, all the animals lined up, waiting to be let into the barn. This became Paul's favorite part of the day because he started looking forward to his nice, warm, soft spot in the hay. One day as they were lining up, he heard a call from the back. Hey, Paul! Hey, best friend! I'm in the back. Let me have your spot. Well, Paul thought, I guess this is what friends do, right? They help each other out. So he switched places and let Roger Rooster go toward the front of the line, and he went to the very back where all the chicks were. Cheep, 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 cheep. Paul thought, wow, friends really trust each other because Roger left me with his kids again? Huh. A few days later, Roger and the chicks were out eating their breakfast. Paul saw them from a distance and went up to say hello, good morning. When he got there, he saw all this stuff on the ground, corn and grains. Well, they didn't have that on the pig farm. So Paul came and watched for a bit and finally asked Roger, what is that you're eating? It looks so interesting. Roger looked at him and looked at the corn and looked at him and said, Ha! Are you kidding? You're kidding. You live on a farm and you don't know what corn is? Ha ha! Ha ha! Before he knew it, Roger called out to all the other animals, everybody listen to this. Paul lives on a farm and he doesn't even know what corn is. Ha ha! Ha ha! Oh, this made Paul feel very sad and embarrassed. He thought, oh, who would want to be my friend? What kind of pig doesn't even know what corn is? For days, Paul kind of kept to himself. He was afraid he might say something else that would sound silly, make him look silly. And so, as everyone lined up to get into the barn at night, he stayed way in the back. Until one night, Danielle the donkey came over and asked, Can I wait with you? This is interesting. Why would Danielle want to be at the very back of the line? Why would she choose to be with someone who didn't even know what corn was? Danielle asked Paul, I'd like to tell you a story. May I tell you a story? When I came to this farm, I was just a little foal, and my whole life had been spent in a barn where we ate sweet yellow hay all day and all night. Suddenly, I was sold and sent here, and all the animals went out to the pasture and ate grass. Green grass stuck to the ground. I was afraid to eat it. What if it was dirty? What if there were bugs? I looked really silly until my friend Calvin the cow taught me how to eat grass, and then it was sweet and good to eat. Paul stopped and listened and thought, you know what? That's funny. That's me too. When I lived on the pig farm, everyone ate out of troughs full of food. The farmer never put food on the ground, and we never had corn. Of course I didn't know what corn was. Before he knew it, Paul started to giggle, and it made Danielle giggle and giggle until all the animals noticed them having a good time. Calvin the cow came over first to find out what happened. He heard the stories and then shared about how when he was new, he'd never been inside a barn before. The poor farmer had to force him in, drag him in 3 days in a row before he realized it was warm and soft and a good place to sleep. Shonda the sheep and Rhonda, her lamb, came over and laughed with their friends and said, "Oh, we're the same way. We'd only had water from streams and ponds, and the first time the farmer came over with a bucket full of water, we thought he was going to give us a bath. We ran and ran." But you know what? Danielle the donkey showed us that the water was good and clean and delicious to drink. Oh, everyone enjoyed laughing at themselves and learning how they all are growing and becoming used to this new home together. It became a party, a storytelling party, as everyone laughed and encouraged each other and remembered how far they had come. This was laughter too, but Paul noticed it was different. It didn't make him feel gross or ashamed or embarrassed at the end. Everyone had fun and went to bed that night happy. Well, everyone except for Roger the rooster. The next morning, Roger stormed right up to Paul and said, "Hey, what is going on here? What's up with this? You're talking to all those people. I saw you laughing. Were you laughing about me? Best friends don't do this. Best friends stick together." Paul thought maybe Roger didn't understand. So he began to tell him how great the other animals were. How Shonda the sheep was very kind and peaceful. How Danielle the donkey was so funny and she loved to help. How Calvin the cow was very wise and always full of encouragement. Paul the pig said, "You could be their friend too. I like them." "No," said Roger. "I only do one friend, one best friend. Everyone else is a loser." This made Paul sad. He said, "Really, I think you'd be happy if you would just listen and get to know the other animals." "No, I am no longer your best friend." Roger stormed off. Paul felt sad for a minute or two, but before he knew it, all the other animals came over to tell more stories and laugh and give each other tips on the best places to find sweet green grass, and the best ways to fluff their hay at night in the barn. Paul looked around and realized he didn't need one best friend. He was surrounded by animals who were very kind and patient, animals who helped each other, animals who were friends without needing to be called something or exclude others. He chose that day what kind of friend he wanted to be and what kind of friend he wanted in his life. 1 Corinthians 13 says this: "Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance." Paul learned when choosing friends that love makes a difference in how you treat people. And in the end, he wanted friends who acted out love the way that God teaches us. The animals who were kind and patient, helpful, the ones who have faith in each other. You see, Paul learned that love is not just words. Roger the rooster had a lot of words like, "You're my best friend." But in the end, he didn't treat Paul well. He made fun of Paul and used Paul. No, love is the way that you treat yourself and treat others. When it came time for Paul to choose a friend, he chose the friends who knew how to love, how to laugh and support and help one another. That is the friend worth choosing. And my friends, I hope you know that I love you. I hope you have a great week, and we will meet back here again next week. Be blessed.